Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks, another top level match of Beyond All Reason. Today I've got a match on Rosetta for you, and it's one of my favorite maps to look at the pros playing on. So today, representing the Eastern team is a blue Cortex commander spawning right up on the front lines, goes by Coop My Janice. Going to be spawning here in the position that normally rushes up to the metal extractor here, although not doing that exactly. We'll have to check back in after we meet our red team leader. Spawning across the map, well known by now after winning the 1v1 tournament here. Commander that goes by the name of Chisato, and there's the little crown on top of the head, by the way, for winning the 1v1 tournament. Absolutely beautiful. Gonna be showing us what he's got on the northern side, representing the Western Hemisphere as the Western Hemisphere, the Western side as the red team leader. Gonna be spawning in the backline here, so probably gonna be going for tech. That's usually what we expect of the backliners here, but maybe something a little spicier planned. We are going for a bot lab here though, so I'm expecting we're probably gonna see a constructor or two, maybe a res bot as well, and then heading into that T2 transition that we're all too familiar with. All right, running our way up to the 10 metal per second metal extractor here. This is something that is unique to Rosetta. There's a couple other maps that have similar starts like this, but usually Rosetta is the one that comes to mind here, where there's a 10 metal per second metal extractor available here. That beautiful bismuth extraction zone right there, not to be confused with Bismuth Valley. And it looks like Coop My Janice is going to be, or Coop My Janice is going to be the first one to claim it here. Actually, yeah, Cloaked Doctor, or maybe it's Cloak Doctor. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. The yellow commander here, not rushing up to this 10 metal extractor spot. We're definitely a bit off to a weird start here. Kale Weaver gonna be transporting the commander around over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wondered if maybe we had less players here, but it is an 8 versus 8. For whatever reason, we didn't have a player spawning over here. Instead, yeah, it's gonna be the hot pink commander who claims some of these metal extractors here, snatching them from Night Wolves. Actually, it looks like might be moving the commander around here. We'll see. Yeah, they're supposed to be for Night Wolves. Maybe we're just going to hand them off here. Either way, getting these metal extractors up and running, I don't mind that whatsoever. We need to have them up and running as quick as possible, but certainly maybe handing them off to the person actually holding the lane, not the end of the world here. This is terrible, though. We don't have the 10 metal extractor up right now, and this is definitely going to come back to hurt the red team quite a lot. Yeah, the yellow commander was certainly in charge of this. I'd love to see the commander transported to go claim the 10 metal spot right here. Maybe handing it off to the yellow commander wouldn't be the end of the world. Either way, though, I like to start right here a whole lot more for Coop My Janice, who has got the 10 mechs up, and we're now pumping out bots up on the hill right here. We have the metal extractors in the background as well, pumping out metal. We're getting ready to get this underway here. Pawn blasting away at some of these ticks right here. Good early engagement for that T1 unit. Trying to trade out pretty efficiently here. We do also have a res bot running across the map right here. Res bot with a inbuilt cloaking of sorts. It's radar transparent, so no radar towers are going to detect it. You basically have to find them by line of sight. It's the only way to find res bots. I suppose seismic detection works as well here. The tracer and the nemesis work as detection for these as well, but typically line of sight your only real option here. Fireball does manage to grab all that metal though, so that's quite nice. Yeah, Resbot gonna end up getting quite a few of these rocks over here. Ticks pushing forward on the northern side. We'll see if they can do any damage here. Eventually, the yellow commander does end up claiming that 10 metal per second spot, and all these metal extractors were handed on over to the tan player there. Wonderfully done. Tick's going to be thwarted here by a single grunt, the mobile LLT, if you will, standing strong against the horde of maroon ticks that were pushing forward here. Going for a very quick geothermal right now, but I actually don't mind it whatsoever. Since there's so low aggression on this northern side, basically no units have been pumped out by Imperator. Might as well go for that geothermal early and try and put as much energy into it as possible here. Very, very energy expensive, these. 13,000 energy, which for the early game can be quite a lot. So I do like that we're trying to get that up and running as quick as possible here. Yeah, solar panels coming up as well. T1 solar panels. Spending all the metal right now. As long as we eat these up, I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially because all this energy is being used to actually pay for something that's very energy dense. But that can always be a dangerous trap, right? I mean, look at how much metal we're putting into all this. 1,300 metal, almost 1,400 metal put into T1 solar panels. If those don't get eaten up and transferred into a more efficient version of energy production, it can be a huge, huge blunder. As was helpfully pinged right here by the blue team, they do take notice of this tremendous push right now. We have six blitzes pushing forward right here from Commander Dave, going to be trying to get into the backlines, and they do indeed manage to run right on by. Fireball trying to push forward right now. Uh-oh. Fireball's base in a whole lot of trouble. Oh no. Yeah, there we go. We almost microed them back, almost F2 all armied them back. There we go. Yep, keep the aggression going. You've made it to the backlines, you might as well get the kill. Beautifully, beautifully done here. Nice. Takes down 2 of the metal extractors, some of the solar panels as well. Blasts the shuriken out of the sky. Sure. Don't think about it all too often, but yeah, technically those blitzes can shoot down air. Second blitz falls here as well. Yeah, just like that, the base for the purple player is shut down. Alright, quite nice. Purple commander also dies on the front here. Yikes. This is already looking terrible for the blue team on the southern side right now. Aside from the southern side, what a sentence that is. It appears that we're pretty much stable across the entire board here. Maroon commander has a little bit more ground on the northern side, and I'd love to see these pawns run forward. Obnoxious doesn't know that he actually has such an open area right here, but if these pawns run forward right now, they could easily kill 2 metal extractors and probably these constructors, maybe even the geothermal over here. There's a couple of grunts out now, but those wouldn't be all too good for shutting all this down. Grunts and pawns now staring at each other here, having a little bit of a face-off. Love to see it. We're starting up a T2 lab already. My goodness, we are jumping the gun as far as the tech goes here. We are starting up T2 up on the high ground here as well. This makes a whole lot more sense. When you have that 10 metal per second metal extractor, you might as well go for some of those T2 units a little bit quicker than usual. We do have unclaimed metal extractors around, though. There's also this commander over here. Are we going to resurrect this commander, or are we just going to leave it be? I feel like we might as well do something with it. Yeah, there's so much metal right now. Looks like everybody on the red team is having a really hard time spending their metal for whatever reason. Some way or another, the red team needs to get their metal spent. Put it into T2, put it into units. Either way, we have thousands and thousands of units. Yeah, Nightwolf here sitting on 1.6k. Obnoxious also sitting on 1.3. Everybody needs to start pumping out units right now. We are far too late into this game to not have all our metal out on the field at this point, unless we're going to start going for some proper T2 transitions. Chisato does have the T2 lab up and running, so at the very least we're going to start propagating T2 constructors here. We do indeed have some of those constructors flying around over here, so hopefully T2 will be distributed all over the place. You can see Kale handing over some metal to Chisato. We also have Tarka handing over some metal to Ras, who's pumping out T2s in the backlines over here as well. Lovely, lovely stuff. We're almost skipping the T1 game here. Everybody going for static defense, nobody going for any aggression. Kind of a bummer. Usually I like to see a little bit more aggression than this. Aggression typically wins games, but I guess if we're just going to step it up to T2, I don't mind watching a T2 battle. Imperator, a little far forward, doesn't have the LLTs up in time. Ooh, that was really close. Doesn't take too many pawns to really blast down a commander, especially if it doesn't have any reinforcements of its own. Commander is relatively fragile in all seriousness. They can be blasted apart by, I want to say, as little as 6 pawns. Could probably take a commander down if the commander doesn't degun them or anything. It's the surround bonus that really matters the most. Obnoxious now pushing forward with his commander. Okay. Well, we're gonna get the commander. There's no way, right? Yeah, the reinforcements here will clean all this up. Nicely done. Actually, a fairly nice trade, using the health of the commander to trade out for this army. We're just running into the LLTs, though. It's not an efficient trade. Okay, well, both commanders now set back to square zero here. It's time that we get some rockets out on the field, and it looks like indeed we do have some of those rocketeers headed out towards the Maroon Commander's front line. Alex Speed is transporting the commander around. I wonder what we're going to do with that. We have a whole bunch of units built over here as well. It looks like some coaching happening as Kolakader, or the yellow commander otherwise, trying to initiate his teammate to get a little bit aggressive here. Everybody just content to stand in a line, though. I'm pretty surprised. I really expected a whole lot more aggression out of this team. We do have some Dragon's Teeth that were set up. I think the Seafoam Green Commander Hetty was a little bit worried that these were flamethrower pop-ups, but they actually were just the little fortress barricade walls. Not nearly as imposing as they seem to be. Shutting down 246 metal per second, coming back to the yellow commander right here. Not going to be the end of the world, given that we have the 10 metal per second metal extractor as well as all this in the background here. But still, this is a nice little forward push. T2 still being propagated. At the very least, the T2 metal extractor is coming up and running. Sato transporting the commander backwards here. I guess going to use it for a little bit of build power. Sure thing. Commander has 300 build power, so you might as well put it to good use. Building some more construction turrets, building some T2 economy. Basically trying to get up to that T2 game right here. I'm going to eat up the T2 lab here. Maybe we're going to go... we are going to go for an APHIS. Okay, Chisato trying to take this game into the long run. Playing for the T3 late game, not so much the T1 early game. Blue team just happy to meet on the same ground. Yeah, it says, you know, we're just gonna go for T3 as well here. We do have a single Mammoth that was pumped out and produced and gonna be waddling its way forward very, very slowly but surely. Medium tanks, meanwhile, colliding with this massive T1 bot army. So much more metal on the field right here for the Seafoam Green Commander Hetty, though, so I do have to give it to the, well, yeah, the Green Commander over the Yellow Commander. Ugh, yeah, that front line has evaporated. We do need to see all this eaten up, though. If all this wreckage goes back to the Yellow Commander, this can be stabilized, but for the time being, those medium tanks are on a tear towards the backline. That D-gun was pretty nice. Yeah, these vehicles going up the hills are going to be really, really primed to be D-gunned. They're very, very slow. It means that they're in a killer position to be D-gunned away, and just like that, Yellow Commander does thwart that attempt to push for the 10 metal per second metal extractor. My goodness, Hetty getting very excited at the first sight of some T2 Sheldon on the field here. Definitely scary. The first Sheldon you encounter are a sign of bad things to come, especially if you're still lingering around on T1. I appreciate that we're producing so much using all our metal, but for now, I think it's time we shut off the T1 production and get ready to go into T2. Mammoth now slowly but surely waddling forwards here. Mammoth, sort of the pinnacle of siege. It's slow and very steady, and it fires a relatively high power laser. Certainly good enough for blasting away the T1 chaff here. If supported properly, a Mammoth can be nearly impossible to stop. One of the ways that I like to see them supported, of course, is with a couple of res bots. Slapping 2, 3, 4 res bots on the back of this can really, really easily make a Mammoth an indestructible force on the front lines. Middle extractor goes down right there. But just making sure we're using that Mammoth to apply pressure here is really the most important part. Hounds are going to intercept a whole bunch of blitzes over here. I think that'll be working out pretty well right here for the Green Commander. Blitz is pretty fast and pretty difficult to hit, but the Hounds are in big enough numbers that I don't think it really matters. And just like that, the Blitzes do indeed go down. This bowl of Hounds could be revolutionary to this southern side right here. If the Hounds are introduced against this LLT wall, well, it won't be too long before those LLTs do fall. A little bit of an unintentional rhyme right there. I sure hope you enjoy. Consider subscribing, joining up on the Brightworks. I believe we just crossed 5,700 members recently. Just tickles my fancy. Mammoth continuing to blast away on the front lines here. Cooled by Janus in a little bit of trouble, though. Sheldon are getting a little closer than is comfortable here. Mammoth will force them back. Commander just being used as a glorified resbot here. I don't mind it. It's definitely a... well, it's definitely one way to make that work out. Massive T1 clash over here. The armies have grown to multiple thousands of metal per side. Rocketeer's doing a great job of kiting, though. There's a gauntlet back here as well as some lightning turrets. Everyone is porking up like absolutely mad. Here's those Hounds, though. They're more than happy to blast away at everything over here. Radar bot has been damaged, so its radar jammer field is going to be disabled for a little while. The radar jammer bot was damaged, I should say. When they take even the slightest hint of damage, their jamming functionality disappears here. Yeah, heavy laser tower is not going to work against those T2 Hounds. They're just too long range, too powerful, especially with the radar bot included here, which I absolutely love from Rast. It is going to mean that there's no way that these units are going to be able to catch up to these Hounds. They're going to be able to kite back for ages, blasting away at all this T1 extremely efficiently. Just like that, that entire front line from Commander Dave has been evaporated. It's about time we go into T2. Indeed, we do have the T2 vehicle bay up and running right now, but no T2 vehicles for the time being. So now is a killer moment for Rast to push forward right now. Coop by Janus, meanwhile, has decided to send in the Mammoth. Alex Speed desperately needs to degun this Mammoth. Those grunts are searching, though. Yeah, they know that the commander's around here somewhere. A couple of scuttles in the back line as well. Okay, sure. We did indeed get the self-destruct right there. Apparently, we learned today that it takes 3 scuttles in order to kill a commander. Interesting. Very interesting. The more you know, I suppose. Mammoth being used as anti-air here, as well as a couple of these thistles right there. Alex Speed's commander goes down, the orange commander. Guess those grunts eventually found it and opened up the opportunity for the Mammoth to continue pushing forward. Just pure medium tank. We do have some T2 bots coming out now, but medium tanks essentially are all that's on the front line right here for Hetty. Gonna be going up against those Sheldon. The problem is those Sheldon, they're not very healthy. They're not extremely sturdy. They're very good at kiting backwards, but the medium tanks are fast enough, at least on the flat ground, in order to catch up to them. Another commander goes down over here. It looks like that was the yellow commander. Goes down, trying to shut down this Mammoth, but it was kited away just well enough, and indeed will live to see another day. Man, the early Mammoth rush, so powerful here, apparently. Nuke coming up in the background here. It's a Cortex nuke, so it's not going to be up for a good couple of minutes. Don't know if there's that much time left in the bank right here for the red team, as already a whole bunch of Sheldon have pushed up onto this hillside. obnoxious, in a terrible position right now as the Sheldon are going to be, well, shelling away from the high ground. Ticks are being pumped out here. It's a unit of all time. Ooh, okay, nice Deegan. Can we get 2 or 3 more? Not going to happen. Imperator, love that we're reclaiming the enemy's units over here, the enemy structures over here. Yeah, this is exactly what I was worried about, though. Those Sheldon are going to be jumped on by a whole bunch of these medium tanks, as well as the blitzes. Basically, everything is thrown at the wall here, just hoping that something sticks. And luckily for the Seafoam Green Commander, medium tanks will end up working out here. Nightwolves could get some killer D-guns. Chisato manages to get some killer D-guns as well, shutting down a tremendous amount of those blitzes from going in, thwarting this push, at least for a little while here. More and more Sheldon coming out here. I haven't played with Sheldon in a good long while, but as soon as I do know that as soon as enough of them come out on the field and they start bundling up in a big ball, it'll be really difficult to shut down. We aren't quite there yet, though, I don't think. We've got about, I want to say 10 or so Sheldon on the field, 12 Sheldon on the field. Not bad, but the amount of damage they do relative to how much health that Mammoth has, it's going to be tickling. Nothing serious going on there. Imperator de-gunning down some of these fiends, treating the fiend with respect. They really can do so much damage to the commander so quickly that you do have to really respect them. You can't afford to laser them down. You really do have to de-gun them. Sheldons to blast away the fiends here as well. A little bit unconventional, unorthodox. Outside of their role, perhaps. Rune Commander does go down, though. This is a nightmare. Wolves desperately trying to produce anything at all to get back into this game here. We have fiends coming out right now, and Chisato as well, trying to send the commander over in this direction. Loads and loads of eco in the backline right here. We have so much energy conversion happening. We have so much laboratories happening too. We're going to go into T2 area. I wonder if we're going to go for some of those wasps, the T2 gunships. Right now, the blue team, the only one that seems to be aggressive. We do have sharpshooters coming out. Sharpshooters going to be quite nice against the Mammoth, against the Sumo, against all those super high health Cortex units. Not bad. Gonna force the blue commander to reevaluate what kind of units we want to send forward here. Yeah, we are going to go for the gunships. Okay, not bad. T2 gunship's going to be great for cleaning up a lot of these fiends, a lot of the Sheldon. Basically, everything's being pumped out here. The Sheldon will extremely vulnerable to the Wasp's gunships coming out. Nuke is almost charged right now. Just about finished. Question is, where do you put it down? No anti-nukes whatsoever right here for the blue team. So the first nuke is going to hit like a truck. The second nuke could certainly take too long to charge, and we might not see it connect with anything at all. It's going to have to be placed a little more carefully. Blitz is jumping on top of Sheldons again over here. So much value on these T1 tanks. Anytime those tanks can trade out for any of the T2 bots, it really does feel like a pretty efficient trade. Fiends, maybe the one T2 bot that doesn't apply to here, as the Fiends blast away those blitzes right there. Very nicely done. Excellent cleanup right there. The red team absolutely on damage control. Crisis management, trying to put together the pieces of a broken situation here. Already losing a player up on this northern side here. I do believe that was the Maroon Commander who's already tapped out of the game. Going to mean that there's no hope of this base ever being rebuilt, aside from maybe if Chisato decides to take another expansion. Nuke is up in the air. Where is it targeted is the big question. If we manage to connect it with something huge, maybe we could see a comeback here. Where are we putting it? We've sent it right across the map, and I think it's going to connect right here in the middle of the map with the T2 metal extractor. Beautifully done. Sends right across the map, pops the APHIS, pops the T2 lab, pops the 10 metal per second metal extractor. The blue commander leaves the game immediately. My goodness. Had so much left to continue fighting with, and decided to leave the game. Coop my Janus, not worth playing, I suppose. Decides to tap out. All right. We've eliminated one player, and we just need to eliminate a few more. Anti-nukes start up immediately. There's already one charging right here, so this base will be protected. The problem with those Cortex nukes is they take so long to rebuild that it can really take ages before they're recharged and you can fire them again. You can see this one's only about a quarter of the way through. Advanced Geo pops over here as the Sheldon march continues. Gunship's still going to be quite powerful against this, though, right? Yeah, gunships could certainly blast away all these Sheldon over here. No reason those Sheldon would dissuade the gunships from pushing forward. Chisato's commander is cloaked up on this hill. Even the crown is cloaked right there. Lovely stuff. Sheldon missing and firing into the base of the red commander over here. Wouldn't take much to chain react all of these poor, unfortunate energy converters here. Sharpshooter's now pushing back. Uh-oh. Sharpshooter's pushing through the middle of the map right here. Gonna be blasting away at whatever they can. That is a lot of sharpshooters, too. We're up to a whopping 20 sharpshooters, which is more than enough to blast down basically anything that shows its face over here. Uh-oh. Spy bots over on this side, primed to EMP all this. I think I'd love to see it. If we detonate 2 of these and EMP this entire cluster of starlights, blitzes, and other T2 shenanigans, I think we'd be in a pretty good spot. Just a massive T2 army, T1 army rather, pushing forward right here. The blue commander, which was just a husk of its former self, blasted apart by those sharpshooters. Love to see these sharpshooters getting value, not just sacrificed, thrown to their doom here. They're actually being used responsibly, efficiently. Still scary to have this many Sheldon lingering on the northern side, but I think this is probably not the end of the world right now for the red team. Recovering quite nicely. Marauder are also out, certainly very powerful. Sharpshooter going to be great for dealing with those Marauder if they manage to fire away at them. If being the key word, though. Looks like it takes about 2 shots per Marauder. 2 sharpshooter shots. Is the nuke charged once more? Almost. We're gonna send it right into the heart of the Cyan base over here. There is an anti-nuke built. Oh, not charged yet though. That anti-nuke is not ready. It's just outside the range of this other anti-nuke that is charged over here. This is actually a really beautiful nuke position. We might actually end up hitting this hillside here, but I think it'll still do a tremendous amount of damage. Those Cortex nukes, they hit pretty hard. I think it'll end up hitting right about here, wiping out a tremendous portion of the T2 production. Here come the... shurikens in mass. Sorry about that. Missed the nuke colliding over here, but just about as much devastation as could be wrought. Imperator's entire base, save for the T2 metal extractors in base, are obliterated right there. Now we have the T2 army cutting this in half. We have the rear reinforcements and the forward units now being cut apart from their base, their supply chains. We have so much air production happening now. So many fighters, so many shurikens, all up in the air trying to make this efficient. Imperator's commander goes down as the Sheldon are on retreat right now. Fiends continuing to burn across. We have Marauder pushing through the middle of the map. They're going to snipe this T2 metal extractor. Very important. That's 40 metal per second going down the drain right here for the green commander who is relying on that to go up to an APHIS here. Not going to have that economy to do that at this point. Fart in a jar. Green commander by the name of Fart in a Jar going to lose his commander and eventually most of the base here to the Marauder that are pushing forward. Love the splits right now. We built 2 anti-nukes. A little bit over-committed to the anti-nukes there, but I guess I don't mind it. More anti-nukes is better than less anti-nukes, I suppose. Shuriken jumping on top of the entire middle of this map here, paralyzing everything. What a fleet. The storm of shurikens here to paralyze everything that they can find. My goodness. Shutting down the laboratory, shutting down the backline, shutting down the economy, shutting down everything. What a funky way of closing this one out. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to paralyze the entire economy in the backline, pretty much shuts off all of the unit production. Sure. Suddenly, this player finds himself with 4 metal per second. 244 energy. What a hilarious way of using the shuriken drones. Just building about 400 of them, sending them across the map, paralyzing everything that you can see. There's so many so many fighters over here to support all this as well. There's no chance this is ever going to come up properly. That is too funny. Even the commander paralyzed here. When's the last time you've seen a commander paralyzed? Hardly ever do we see that level of paralyzation. Marauders now sent on the southern side. Effectively, the northern side is killed. Not technically, but effectively. This is so funny. I mean, I guess it works. There we go. Some anti-air trucks gonna head over in that direction. At the very least, those will be good for cleaning all this up. Shuriken's trying to paralyze this spot as well. The spot that's producing the anti-air trucks. The AA trucks trying to find a way to free their teammate from the EMP drones over here. What a hilarious play. Paralyzing the entire base right here with shurikens. That is too good. Love a little unconventional use of the shuriken now and then. Hilarious way to use all the metal too. Put it into an ungodly amount of T1 fighters and shuriken. Sure. Pushes back all the forces right here from Imperator, who lost the base and now has no way to rebuild units here. Doesn't have a constructor. And the Marauder on the southern side. They popped the advanced Geo that was up on the hillside and they're not done yet. Excellent splits right there by the orange commander. Manages to keep most of these Marauder alive. Some of them critically injured, but alive. All that matters. The last HP, the only one that really matters. Oh, and those world-famous splits suddenly gone as the Aphis pops here. Guess it doesn't matter, though, as it knocks another commander off the map here for the blue team. Only a shallow husk remains. So many Shuriken, my goodness. Instantly paralyzing all of the Razorbacks pushing up here. I mean, what a hilarious way of dealing with all this. Yeah, those AA trucks going to be great for firing up into those Shuriken hordes. The splash damage on the AA trucks is certainly enough to deal with the Shuriken, but there's just so many of them. Hundreds and hundreds of Shuriken. Yep, you have all the time in the world with that many Shuriken paralyzing everything out on the map. Fighters are pulled to try and deal with this, but the fighters focusing on the Shuriken end up losing themselves to the T1 fighters being spammed out here. More stuff beats less stuff, I suppose. Big old T2 push over here. We don't really have a whole lot of armor in front of this. I would love to see some lightning tanks or some bulls or anything, really. So it's going to be great for blasting down this Razorback here. Pretty much perfect. Yep, there it goes. Blasted apart before it even gets a chance to fire. Shuriken pulled on all the T3 over here as well. Going to make the Marauder extremely efficient against the T3. What a hilarious way to support the team here. Chisato deciding to pull out the oldest Cortex trick in the book, but on a T3 scale. Mass Shuriken. Mass Shuriken and T1 fighter support. Pretty cheeky. These artillery being used as assault unit. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Razorback's gonna clean all this up, though. Makes a lot of sense. We do have a nuke charged. Can't help but wonder if maybe sending the Shuriken in to paralyze something and then going for the nuke isn't the ideal solution here. Oh, the Shuriken are blobbed up a little bit, though, and they find those AA trucks. AA trucks are more than happy to blast them out of the skies there. Yeah, there's plenty of AA now. The blue team, well traumatized by the Shuriken harassment here, deciding it's time to go for quite a lot of anti-air flak, so not going to be very viable much longer. I wonder if we're going to see a transition here, changing away from the Shurikens. Yeah, it looks like the Q is just one part Shuriken, one part T1 fighter. Valiant, I believe, yeah. Yeah, Cortex T1 fighter plane. A little bit of friendly fire to kill the T2 over there. T2 metal extractor, not bad. Sharpshooters firing away at these Marauder here, but not going to be able to kill them in one volley. Razorbacks, however, are going to do much better against these Marauder. Will they be able to stop them all, though? Most of them. Yep, very nicely done, yeah. Plenty of Razorbacks to stop all that. More Shurikens pushing through right here. I think it's about time we retire the Shuriken, though. Seems like they're not getting very much effect. I can't help but wonder if maybe a bunch of bombers would be a little bit better. Just going for a whole bunch of bombers and sending those across the map instead. Gunslinger's caught here. Razorback's gonna have no trouble blasting those to smithereens right now. Blue team making quite a surprising comeback right here. This southern side, these T3 units are gonna be more than enough to blast through here. Production has halted for the Pink Commander, Commander Dave. Curious what we're gonna go for here. We have so many T1 advanced solar panels. Happy to see that we're using advanced solar panels at the very least instead of regular solar panels, but still. Feels like maybe going for T2 economy wouldn't be the end of the world here. Glad to see we're still expanding the economies, by the way. Chisato has given up on expanding the economy, but for the very least, our orange commander, Alex Speed, will continue to expand them. Yeah, the Shuriken slowly losing value as suddenly there's so much anti-air that there's not really any way those Shuriken can go through. They all know AFU button. This could be killer. Tons of Marauder headed in the southern side. Load of blitzes too. Oh, they snuck past even my radar over here. Blitzes did sneak into the backline right now. Oh no, they've taken down all the build power over here. What a little run by. The T1 tank that could. Kill the build power. There we go. Build power chain reacts right there, and it's going to chain react all the way into the backline. Beautifully done. Suddenly, 100 blitzes sneak into the backlines right now for Ras, take out all the build power, and manage to actually pop the entire economy. Beautiful little play right there. Absolutely unexpected. Takes out a tremendous portion of the economy for the blue team. Opens up that southern side to harassment. There is a massive push right here. The Razorbacks are pulled effectively and all in from Ras, who realizes there's no way more Razorbacks are going to come, so this is as big as the force is going to get. Starlight's, though, blasting away those Razorbacks over there, and the Marauder on the southern side are going to continue to run on by. Yep, this is perfect. Marauder just need to sweep up from the southern side. There's tons of Shurikens over there as well. There's a big battle happening right on this side as well. Ooh, how far did the Razorbacks get? They made it pretty far, but I don't think they made it quite far enough. Yeah, they're going to be shut down right here. This push is looking devastating. Those Mammoths really tough to kill. Even the Shiva struggling, even with their high-impact condensed matter cannons. Not going to stand up to the armor plating of those Mammoths. Condensed turbo titanium alloy shells, keeping those Mammoths well protected. And boom goes the base right here of the Seafoam Green Commander Hetty. Marauder not quite done yet. Yeah, they have their little AA guns. You can fire up those bombers. They've made it to the back line. They're going to start by feasting on some T1 solar panels as an appetizer. They're going to eventually move on to one of the main courses, the advanced solar panel, but I think they're ready to jump on to the final dish of the evening here. Some of the fusions and advanced fusion reactors. Pop goes the main base right here for Taharka. Beautiful little Marauder run by. Would have loved a little better splits because I feel like those Marauder could have probably taken out this entire base rather than just the economies here, but I think enough damage has already been done. Suddenly the economies are thrown way out of balance here as the blue team is pulling in about 450, maybe 500 metal per second. The red team pulling in about 1.1 thousand. We do have a lot of bombers up in the air here. Taharka, the main air player here for the blue team. Only a handful of fighters left means that the air forces are going to be quite powerful. That being said, because of how much AA was built, because of those early Shuriken raids, I guess you don't need as many fighters. Still wouldn't be a bad idea to make quite a lot of them, though. Loads of sharpshooters over here. Actually, more than enough to blast away all these forces. If they can see them, which they can. Resbots picking up all these Razorbacks and Marauders that went down over here. Lovely little play. If the AA trucks go down, I mean, Shurikens can jump back into this. I don't know if we're still doing Shuriken production. Doesn't look like it. Looks like, just deciding to overflow to all the other teammates here. The red commander actually tapped out of the game. Oh, interesting. For whatever reason, red player taps out of the game at this point. I guess had enough fun as is and decided to just overflow all the economy. At this point, somebody could take over this massive production center, even the nukes over there. What a hilarious battle. A ridiculous back and forth. Starlight's more than happy to blast away at all these sharpshooters over there. Starlights have ever so slightly further reach than the sharpshooters, so they make for a semi-effective counter against those. T3 units being built en masse, though. All the red team has to do now is pull the trigger. Obviously, they don't have the same perfect vision that we do, but pretty done deal at this point. T2 army slowly applying pressure over here on this front. Marauder is going to run forward here, though. Taking out a whole bunch of those Archangels, blasting away at them. Sharpshooters go down as well. Beautiful push. Yep, nice splits. Split the Marauders. There we go. Marauders are going to split off here so that we don't lose them all in the ensuing explosion. Pop go the Aphises right there for the Green Commander. Fort Najar. Ras in a whole lot of trouble here as well. Commander is cloaked right there to intercept a whole bunch of these Marauders, but I think they have their eyes on bigger targets. There is a Juggernaut headed out to the field, but a single Juggernaut does not a push make. Too easy to D-gun down a lone Juggernaut, so not sure if it's going to be able to have too much effect. Marauders sweeping across the southern side, though. We'll go ahead and speed this up. Oh, Taharka D-gunning down his own labs as opposed to deny the enemy the strategic assets. We'll go ahead and pretend that's the reason there, or hope that that's the reason there. Destroying your own base in a fit of rage is actually a bannable offense, so be aware of that in case you're doing that in the end. Either way, though, not going to matter as the final commander is sniped, and the red team manages to claim victory in this back-and-forth battle on Rosetta Stone. What a fun one.